Okay, we are live. Hello, hello, hello. So,
Hello.
hello, everybody. Lucy and I nearly didn't go live because we've been, I'm not going to lie, chatting in the waiting room for about half an hour and we nearly forgot to bring you lot in.
So
So,
much to
welcome,
think about.
Lucy.
Thank you.
Welcome, Lucy.
Thanks for having me.
And welcome to episode of 4 of the Living in the Light series. I've nearly completely forgotten what I'm talking about. So the Living in the Light series is, I brought it into being because I wanted to talk to real women about their journeys and experiences of what it is or what their journeys have been to living a truly soul guided life versus a life that is dictated by and influenced by the external world. And I'm aware that we've all got such unique and powerful stories and medicine to share with one another. And quite frankly, I got bored with speaking to myself for 16 episodes. I thought this is not fun. People are the guts full of me, and they would like to feel the energy of some more magnificent women. So for those of you that do not know me, my name is Cora Darlington. I've got about 10,000 titles and they change all the time. I'm a life and business intuitive, like a spiritual mentor, a channel for light and fire. I recently added fire because I think right now, for us to be able to navigate into whatever we're navigating and into something brand new, we need to have some fire, and we need to not be afraid of our potency and our ferocity and our fierceness as women. So I'm going to put that in there. So I am very excited to be welcoming today the lovely Lucy Lloyd, who is an abundance coach and quantum pathway guide. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, Cora, for having me. It's lovely to join you. It's fab.
Super, super good. So, the first thing that I wanted to talk with you about or have us share with us about is your turning point or your dark night of the soul. What I've realized is that as human beings, for some reason, we don't seem to be able to catalyze our evolution unless it comes from a place of struggle or suffering, right? That's what I noticed for the majority of us all.
Yeah.
And so I would love for you to just, tell us about yours.
Well, looking back, I think Spirit came in and offered me an easy path, and I chose not to accept it. I got chronic fatigue when I was 17. I got glandular fever, and I was very, very studious and I worked really hard. I studied loads. And I think what Spirit was trying to say was, don't go that route. Don't go that way. And I was like, no, I want to do it. I want to go and get a good job. I want to get a good degree. I'm going to go and work in the city. And so I really went that way. I kept being offered like different options for spirituality to come in. And I remember being at uni and I had this first spiritual experience. And I went, no, not for me. I want to go clubbing. I want to go to hip hop and R&B nights. I want to get drunk. I want to have a wild life. So I went down that path and I went to uni, got my job, got into the city life, had a really good corporate career, working in finance and tech. And I loved it. And it was so much fun. I struggled with the chronic fatigue and I put everything on the back burner really for my career. And my career just grew. But it was always a struggle. And in 2011, that was the year for me that my dark night started. And it happened so fast. And everything in my life just crumbled. And it started because I chose somebody to date that was like a real bad boy. And
Biggest teachers, aren't they?
Such big teachers. And for some reason, I remember thinking, right, okay, I'm going to open my heart to this guy. Like, I've never opened my heart like this before. I'm just going to do it with this guy. And I did. And literally everything, like it was like a tornado, a whirlwind, a vortex of everything crumbling. So my friendships started to break down. My career just started to change. My health crumbled. And so I remember I had to go between clients in London, and I was going with my boss to get a black cab. And he was like, come on, we've got to rush. We've got to get this cab. We've got to get to this next meeting. And I was trying to run to get the black cab. And I just suddenly was like, couldn't even really walk. Like I felt like a really old woman, and my legs wouldn't move and all my muscles seized up. And I quickly was saying to my bosses, like, something's wrong. I can't keep going. And they allowed me to like take more and more time off. And then I went into like long-term sick leave, where I used to crawl around my flat. I couldn't really shower. I couldn't hold the shower up. And I used to just have real deep moments of real depression, where the pain was so bad that I remember thinking about like, how am I going to kill myself? Because this is so bad. This pain is so awful. And I was so isolated, and I lost a lot of my friendships. A lot of people just weren't there anymore. And they thought that I wasn't there for them. So, so my whole world started crumbling. And then, but a few years went on. So it was like a really protracted, like dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
And 2016, I was living with my partner at the time, and we were both struggling. Like, he had depression, I still had this illness, and we were having a hard time. It was lots of things happening, being thrown at us, like from all angles, lots of stuff happening. And he had a manic episode, and it got to the point where I loved him so much, and I didn't want to leave, but I actually felt I had no choice, and I left. And he went into a psych ward, and it was a really dark time. Like it was terrible, and I felt really awful for him, and I wanted to be there for him, but I got told by some real authority figures like I had to keep away from him and not see him anymore for my own good. And that my health was so important, and I put myself completely on the back burner. I just did everything for everyone else. And so I remember one night seeing a huge angel standing above my house, and I'd never seen anything like that before. And I wasn't really into angels. Like, I kind of believed about them, but not really. I was very cynical.
Yeah.
I'd always been quite spiritual, like things happen for a reason and things like that. But I'd never seen an angel.
But not massive angels. But
no, not a huge white angel above my house. Like, like, whoa, like, okay, what's going on here? And then I had life-changing moment, really absolutely changed my life. I remember I was sitting in my bedroom. I was feeling really guilty about my ex. He was in hospital. I wanted to see him. They wouldn't let me see him. And I was just feeling terrible. And I suddenly heard a voice in my head that I'd never heard before. And this voice said, "Who do you think you are? Do you think you're God?" And I was like, wow. No, I don't think I'm God. And this voice said, "No, you're not God. I am. And I'm looking after him, just like I'm looking after you. So you can go your own way now. I'm looking after him. Let him go." And it just absolutely flipped my whole reality. My whole life changed. And it was such a learning. It was such a teaching that I was being the martyr and the people pleaser. And I was always thinking about what I should be doing for others, which is so spiritual, like that's,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But without boundaries, without putting yourself first and as a sovereign being and looking after yourself, you can't give from an empty cup. And that was such an amazing
moment.
And learning.
I think there's like an old paradigm of service that if you look at you know, I think I might have said this a few episodes before this, because it comes up, you know, a lot. It's a subject that is a big subject, and, you know, we're all being called into service, I believe, right now. And so it's important that we have like the service conversation, is that service has always been wrapped up tightly with martyrdom and struggle. And actually, if you look at some of the most amazing ascended masters of service, they've really suffered, you know, like Jesus nailed to the cross, Mahatma Gandhi mowed down, you know, Martin Luther King shot, you know, like really, it's not a great, even, you know, even Nelson Mandela, the most incredible light on this earth. But when you look at the sacrifice behind that, like not great relationships with family, you know, put in prison for all those years, you know, marriage, not that great, you know, it occurs to us that if we go into service, then there must be sacrifice and there must be great struggle. And I believe that that doesn't have to be the case. And part of that is to really understand that that service has to start with you, serving you, so that you can go out into the world and serve from a very full, resourced, clear, abundant space, right? And I think that's really, really important. And then, you know, to speak to your story as well, as an amazing story. I notice, and I'm sure that you've noticed this too, and I'm sure that this will be your experience, that I watched an interview with Wayne Dyer, the late great Wayne Dyer. Do you know Wayne Dyer? We love a bit of Wayne Dyer.
Yeah.
And he was talking about his story, you know, his father never wanted him, you know, all of that, really angry. And that his source had come and said to him, you were a teacher in the very soul of you. And do you think you could teach like you do if you had not had those experiences? And I think that that's the alchemy. You know, you look back at all of those really painful experiences that you've had. People watching will have their own set of painful experiences, and you get to alchemize it, I think, when you realize that how can you be empathetic towards somebody who's been in an abusive relationship if you have not been in one? How can you hold space for somebody that's burnt themselves out and can't move if that has not been your experience? How can you hold space for others if you have not had your own trials and still do have trials that you navigate? You know, I think that's really important to say, that, you know, it's not like we're not coming on here and I'm not going, Lucy Lloyd, abundance coach and quantum pathway guy, she's got it all sorted, never has any challenges in life, because that's bullshit. You know, like we totally do still have those. And I think it's just another level of authentic when we're visible in that. You know, we're always going to be navigating things. But the alchemy, I guess, is in how we use those experiences to expand and move forward in like a different way, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you a lot of compassion and empathy for other people that have gone through that kind of situation. And as this path has opened up for me and I've met more and more people on the spiritual path, just hearing their stories and understanding what people go through the dark night of the soul, like, it can be freaking painful.
Yeah.
It's not for the faint-hearted. Spirituality has got, the spiritual life has got so much abundance you can get from it, and joy and love and wonder, but it doesn't come for free.
No.
That you have to pay for it. You have to work for it.
Yeah.
As you become more and more back to your true self.
Yeah. I think the more and more you come back to your true self, the more confronted you are with how far you've strayed away from who you really are. Yeah. That's the confronting thing. You read a quote. I often say this: you read a lovely quote or you read a lovely book, because I bet you've got about 2,000 million books on your bookcase as well, right? Yeah, for sure. You know, read these books and you're only just scratching the surface. It's like books and YouTube clips and things like that. You need that period of time to take in the knowledge and be in the energy of, and then sooner or later there is zero bypassing, that you have to put all that down and actually firsthand experience yourself and really come to terms with how wrong you've got it and how far away from home you've wandered and how much pain you've put yourself in.
Yeah.
And what needs to be done to undo all of that conditioning, you know, is the sobering thing.
Yeah, totally. Totally. And I remember back in like 2011 when that first crumbling happened, and I started getting therapy for the first time ever. And I was going for talk therapy, and it really helped, you know. And at some point, I remember I was standing in the kitchen and I suddenly heard my inner voice talking to me. She was such a bitch. She was horrible. And once I suddenly got this awareness, I was like, listening to myself and going, I wouldn't be friends with that person.
Yeah.
And yet this is the person that lives inside me. This is the person that's telling me who I am.
Yeah.
And I was telling myself I was horrible to myself.
Yeah. That person runs the show as well. Like that. I mean, that's the interesting thing. You're like, wow, this person actually runs the show, has been running the show for my entire life. And she says one thing 1 minute and then completely contradicts herself the next. No wonder I'm all over the place all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think one of the things that I'm really learning right now is just to fall in love with all of that, though. You know, I think my early thing was, if I can meditate enough, I can meditate her into silence. I can kill her. I can strike her down and silence her forever. And now I'm like, she's a part of who I am. And there are reasons why she's showing up like she's showing up. And rather than hate her, I think one of the things that I'm very much still in a day-to-day, like moment-to-moment thing is, can I have compassion? Because I think as soon as you've got compassion, it hasn't got the same power over you as if when you're fighting something. Like when you're fighting something, all your power's over there trying to fight something, versus when you feel compassion, there's not the resistance. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I like to become aware of that voice and say, oh, okay, that's what I'm saying right now. That's the story I'm playing.
Yeah.
But definitely, I don't speak to myself the way I spoke to myself 10 years ago. Like that part of me is gone. That ego death happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
Speak to herself like that. And definitely doing the work, like the subconscious mind and reprogramming how we dialogue with ourselves.
Yeah.
Words we say to ourselves, it really does change your reality.
Absolutely.
Because then you've got a completely different baseline then. But I'm just more aware of things now. Like it's more like the ego would say, you should be doing that. You should be doing that. Go and do that. Keep busy, busy. And what I've learned is that anytime my ego is saying, you should be doing that, you have to be doing that, that's my ego talking. That's not spirit talking.
Yeah. And then you're out. You can drop out. I also think, you know, we talked about all the work that it is. You know, I don't want to give it a bum deal. Like it definitely is work, but the upside, not even the upside, the payoff of that, or the gift of that, is that you are like alive in your own life like never before. And so that really leads me on to, so you had all of that, but you've got like a pretty cool story about like what has unfolded since then, right? And I'd love you to tell us all about that.
Yeah, well, I had my awakening, and at this moment where if I hadn't had that awakening moment, I'd literally got to the point where I thought, I don't think I've got any reason to be alive still. Like genuinely thought, I don't think there's a reason for me to be here anymore. And that voice came through and woke me up. And immediately I was like blissed out. I was on a cloud of bliss for like 3 months, completely getting downloads, suddenly having contact from my spirit guides, and just feeling this love, this complete love and connection, where they were like, hey Lucy, it's so good to talk to you, like,
Oh, I love that.
like they're so your best friends, your best buddies, that you know they've known you forever.
Yeah.
And it's this feeling of, wow, this is so great, like this feeling of connection and oneness that I'd been missing. So I kind of buzzed along, and I spent about a year kind of sorting my life out and really recuperating. Like my health was still very bad and I was still housebound for most of the time. And then I started hearing about ayahuasca, and I was like, interesting. Okay, this is really interesting, because people were saying like ayahuasca can really help you like on your spiritual path, but it can also help you with physical ailments.
Yeah.
And at that point, the NHS couldn't do anything for me other than give me sleeping pills and antidepressants. And I was just like, this isn't helping me anymore. This isn't how I want to live. So I just decided to just sneak off down to Costa Rica.
Love that. Just decided to sneak off to Costa Rica and do me a little bit of ayahuasca.
Yeah. I just thought, I've got nothing to lose. I've got nothing to lose. I didn't tell anyone. I just said I was going down for a holiday. And
Which I an internal one.
Yeah. I'd never done anything like that before. I'd never done a psychedelic. I had no idea. And it absolutely changed my life. And I am so grateful, and I am so blessed, because what a journey. Amazing. Just so much healing, so much learning. And I came away from my first four ceremonies with way less physical symptoms than I'd ever had. I used to get ill all the time. I used to constantly have swollen glands. I'm talking about like 95% of my life in the last 20 years was most of the time being ill, like swollen glands, like I had the flu, like I'd just run a marathon with the flu on a hangover.
Wow.
And I came out of it, and the glands, the swelling just went. And, you know, touch wood, I rarely get ill now.
Yeah.
And that was 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
So that was
a reverence for plant medicine. Such a reverence for it. It just really is, truly is a gift, you know.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Yeah, so I spent some time traveling around and going to various shaman and doing way more plant medicine and doing iboga and doing bufo and traveling and going to Joe Dispenza retreats. And
love a bit of Joe Dispenza.
I know, he's so great. And
so great.
Meeting like all these amazing people and learning more about myself. And what I realized was that ayahuasca, she took me to a certain point in my healing process. Like she got rid of a lot of the physical symptoms, and then she was like, the rest, you got to do it yourself. Like
I think that's important to say, isn't it? Because I think we've got a disease as humanity. We want to just tick. I've done that now, and I don't know when we're going to learn. No.
Yeah. I was definitely sold on the idea that I was going to go to Costa Rica and I was going to get my miracle healing, and my life was completely going to shift, and I was going to live this amazing, wonderful life and all of that. And it is 50% the medicine and 50% your own work when you come home. It's integrating it. Yeah. It's taking the actions. It's taking the steps.
Yeah, it is. It's the integration of that, and then how it changes your embodiment in your life going forward. I think that's so important. And I think when we're taking in a lot of new things, like for instance, you know, plant medicine into your system, Joe Dispenza's body of work, you know, all of that stuff, if we don't allow integration time and we just keep on like learning, which sometimes I believe is also still grounded in like running away or fear or control. I read another book and another book and another book, and I'll do another course, and I'll do another course, and I'll do another course. And then the things, the shifts that you had that were real, they real shifts, almost like bounce back out of your system in terms of the embodiment. Like you don't embody this new way of being, because you just keep on trying to take in. I think the integration piece is like really, really important, the space and time, and to just recognize, well, I had that shift in Costa Rica. The medicine taught me this. Now, how is that going to inform how I am in relation to myself? And how is it going to inform how I am in relation to my life and other people? And that takes a while to land, I think. Doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And I'll still get learnings from teaching from the medicine from 3 years ago, and I'll suddenly get, oh, okay, you've still been working on that. Wow. You know, like I remember one ceremony, she said she was unraveling me like a ball of yarn. And I thought she meant in that ceremony.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was going to be a couple of years. Like, I'm like, oh, that's done.
Oh my God, I love being a human. I truly, truly do. It's a revelation lately that I absolutely love being like a human. What about your work though, right? What about your work? So 3 years ago, you came back from your adventures, inner and outer, and then what has unfolded for you since then?
Well, you know, my adventures continued up until lockdown. Spirit brought me home just before lockdown. And so I went to India and I went around Central America and the States and continuing with my spiritual stuff and with plant medicines. And over time, so I was still working at the time. I would work remotely in my corporate job. But over time, I realized that spirit kept pointing the light on hypnotherapy and how I could be service to others. And so I kept seeing hypnotherapy. Oh yeah, I want to do that. And I would remember times when I was a kid when I used to think I could hypnotize people. So I learned that.
The truth. We just get taught. We just get taught out of it, don't we? For sure.
Yeah, exactly. We're born with these abilities, and then the culture tells us that's not true. So yeah, I left my corporate job. I took the leap of faith and I retrained in hypnotherapy and rapid transformational therapy, NLP, and I brought it all together and I coach my clients and coach them through using all the teachings that I've learned along the way of the meditation and raising your vibration and all the things that ayahuasca's taught me, all the plant medicine stuff, and realizing so much of what I was being shown through the medicine was that, like, the mind is the trap, and we have to we have to reprogram the mind, and change the stories that are going on to change our health, our physical, and our life, our reality around us. So,
I really do think that some of the spiritual teachings have had us want to abandon our body and the human experience. And I remember I had done a lot of stuff with Sadhguru, so I'd done some retreats with him, just incredible. Like all of the inner engineering stuff, just incredible. So I've mentored with him for a while. And Muji, I love Muji. He's also fantastic.
Right.
I just wish he was my dad, you know, like, how cool would it be if Muji was your dad? Like, he is awesome. I'm probably the same age as him. That's how out of sync I am with the fact that I am the age that I am. He's not your dad. He's nearly the same age as you, Cora. But I am.
Maybe in another life.
Yeah, I noticed that I was angry. I was angry with them because I was like, you know, if the job is to just be air, why the fuck would I bother coming then? If that is the case, if I'm supposed to neutralize, to get out of this so much, then why would I come here? Like, I couldn't reconcile with it. And having been born acutely not feeling like I was home, like all my life, like I do not belong here. Like, who are these people? What is this world? I am in a room full of 250 people and I feel like an alien, like quite literally, like what is going on? That for the first part of my life, I realized that I was trying to escape the human experience. Something must have happened on my way in where I forgot that I agreed to come here, or I came out of my mum's womb and just went, no, I've changed my mind. This place sucks. Get me out.
I've had that with so many of my clients. When I regress them back, they'll often go back to before they came into this life, and they're all excited about coming in. They're like, this is a mission. And then they're in the cot or they're in the womb.
They're like,
it's a really early memory, and they are like, I made a huge mistake and I've got to get out. Like, this is awful.
Absolutely. And so I realize right now that, you know, we're talking about ascension is like a buzzword at the moment, you know, ascension, evolution, you know, ascension for sure is like a word right now that everybody is trying on and using. But when we think about ascension, we think about, like, it feels like it's up and out of there. And I feel like the ascension process is in you come into terms and even forgiving yourself for the fact that you came into this human experience, and that you sign up for it, that you literally go, well, I'm here now. I'm here and I'm in 100%. When you do that, then the ascension process really starts to move through your root and your womb and your, you know, your solar, and then, you know, you get, you know, that the full experience of it. You get the full experience of it, because there's just no bypassing the human experience. There's just not. And I just really feel the body work, the embodiment work is like where it is at right now. You know, what it needs processing in the body.
I think people understandably might have a time where they don't want to be in their body. I certainly didn't want to be in my body. So at the beginning of my spiritual journey, I was off with the fairies. I was having visions, downloads. I couldn't cope with this reality. I couldn't cope with this life. I didn't want it. And that's why my body had suffered all this time. And like you said, you get to a point where you really have to ground it in. Otherwise, you're not going to help anyone. You're not even going to help yourself. So you have to pull it down into your body and get on with things.
Yeah, you do. You do. I think there's an acceptance. There's a release of resistance. There's a grief actually for being here. That's what I experience. There's a grief about, okay. And if I allow that, then I can come to it with a whole other level of roll your sleeves up readiness for what I came for. And Spirit keeps on saying to me, you may not believe this, but there is a part of you that is incandescent with joy and excitability about you being here in this place and time. And I'm like, well, sometimes I can feel that. And other times I think you might be lying.
No, it's surreal. It's so surreal, isn't it? Yeah.
It really is. It really is.
I know.
I love that. I love that. So your work sounds amazing. And for anybody that wants to reach out to find out about Lucy and what she does, we're going to put some links in the comment box after, and you can answer any questions as well that come up in the box, Lucy. So yeah, we'll definitely make that stuff available. So you know, all of that stuff is unfolded. You're in your work right now. And then the other thing that I want to speak to, and I ask everybody that I speak to, is what are your unique... Actually, before I move on to that, when you were saying Joe Dispenza, and I pull the meditation, and then there's the ayahuasca that's taught me so much, and then my past experiences, it's like we've all got this very unique magic and medicine for the world. And if we don't buy into the lie that there's lack and there's not enough for everybody, we would just take the responsibility to bring our magic and our medicine into the world and not worry about being in competition with another person. Or that was also another reason why I felt it really important to bring women on, fellow human beings on, and go above the, well, I can't bring another coach in, as I can't bring somebody else in, because people will go over there with her, or they might like her more, or what is that going to mean for my business? I thought, I am not living that reality. Absolutely not.
I love that, Cora.
Even if it pops up, because let's be transparent, it still does pop up. I mean, you know,
ego's always going to pop up with its fears.
Yeah, exactly. But I just kind of go, well, thanks for the information, but I'll just invite 20 more women in then until you be quiet.
I love that. I
This
love
is
that.
happening. This is happening, and so there is no lack. That is a complete lie. There is enough for everybody, and there is enough room for everybody's divinely unique magic and medicine. And so, I really feel to say that, like, really truly, I think that's an important thing to say. So I wanted to double back and say that your unique magic and medicine is needed in the world, as is mine, as is Layla, who is in the comment box at the moment. She's just come into the world with her very own unique medicine and magic, which I'm really looking forward to seeing what unfolds for her. But what practices and rituals do you do every day that keep you connected to the truest part of yourself? Because as we said earlier on in the chat, this is not like you go and do ayahuasca and then it's all done. There's a commitment, like there's a discipline, I think, this to speak to, commitment to yourself and a discipline that has to happen. And how does that look for you every day?
I'm very connected to my reality and what my reality is showing me and pointing me back to all the time. So I'm very aware when I'm being schooled, when I'm being initiated, what information is coming at me, and the ability for me to go in and say, okay, why is this coming up? Why am I being shown this type of thing? What does that show about me? What is it leading me to?
Yeah.
I meditate.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've got to create the spaces, haven't you, to be able to hear that? Yeah.
Yeah. I am not the best at that. I'll admit that. Like, I could be better, but I accept that if I am saying I should do this or I should do that, then that's not the path either. Because I've been taught, so one of the strongest teachings I've had is to follow my feet.
Yes.
I just have to do whatever feels right.
Yes.
That is my spiritual practice. And it's something I'm doing all the time. And I'm very aware if I'm being pushed out of that.
Yeah.
If somebody's trying to get me to do something that doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah.
Don't do it. But that's a learning, like that's always evolving. But it's really about like day to day feeling into my body. Okay, what do I want to do?
Yeah.
What feels right?
Yeah.
What is right for me now?
Yeah.
I do like to do Joe Dispenza meditations.
Me too. It's so
I love them. I like to do breath work.
Yes.
I like to do plant medicine.
Yes.
It's amazing healings and teachings. And I find more and more, though, that you don't necessarily need the medicine. In fact, Lee Harris was saying that on his do you know Lee Harris?
I've heard of him.
He's great. I love him. He was talking about that in his June energy update. And he was saying that we're going through more and more like shifts in reality where you might feel a really transcendent experience as if you've taken ayahuasca, but you're just in your day-to-day life.
Natural. I think I definitely think you've probably had the same experience, and I think this is, for lots of us, is that I was definitely told to not look outside myself in any way, shape, or form for a savior. That if I could feel myself reaching in, almost in a codependent way, for somebody to make me feel okay or give me the good news or have me feel like that I had, and I was told that a long time ago and I stopped to a degree, but then is a whole other layer of that. Like, how can you receive yourself as the savior, as the one, if you're putting that out there onto somebody else, whether it be a person or a teaching or a medicine, that all these things are to support us, but they're not the thing, we're the thing, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So I used to get psychic readings and then
Yeah.
they started not making any sense. So I was
Yeah.
being taught, don't get psychic readings.
Yeah.
The medicine has started over time, not giving me visions, not giving me information, and
Yeah.
reminding me everything's within me.
It's here. Yeah.
So the guru thing,
Yeah.
I've been taught about discernment with that.
Absolutely.
So don't get into the spiritual ego of following a guru. And
Yeah.
I've had that highlighted to me in so many ways. I love them. I love people that can teach me stuff.
Well, I think there was a time for that. There definitely was a time. I think there's a time for everything. It's not like anything's wrong. They're not evil or anything. It's not misplaced.
Right.
It just is. It's not for now,
Yeah, it gets to a point where the initiation becomes trust yourself, listen to yourself, believe yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what I do with my clients. I want to empower them.
Yes.
So often it comes back to, when I'm working with them, what feels right to you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you want to do? Oh no, I should be doing this. No, not should. What do you want? Like, I can't do that. I'm a mum.
Yeah.
I'm not used to putting myself first.
Yeah.
Well,
All the same.
try putting yourself first.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it all the time, but put yourself first a bit more.
Yeah.
So that you can fill up your cup, so that they'll benefit even more.
Yeah.
Like, try it on.
Yeah.
This thing in the culture of us all being selfish, if we put ourselves first, there's a twist to that. Yeah, some people can be really selfish, but in the true, authentic way of being selfish is giving yourself love, giving yourself care, looking after yourself, making
receiving
sure
yourself. It's like receiving yourself as a human, as like an actual human being that was born worthy. Like we are born worthy. Like we're born deserving of it all, not in a self-entitled way, like, I deserve it all, not that, but we're born blessed and worthy of all good things. And literally from the minute we take a breath, we're born into a construct that says you're a sinner or you're inherently wrong, and your job over this lifetime is to prove yourself worthy and prove yourself is to qualify. I've been using that a lot. You need to qualify for something, and you're like, man, you spend my entire life trying to qualify for what? Like you were talking earlier on, you buy into these concepts of what success are, and then what I noticed with the women that I work with, some of them are really high performing women, and they go, well, their dark night of the soul is, well, I've got everything.
Yes.
And I feel nothing. Like I feel no connection to any of it. I'm waiting for this moment and it has not come. And now what? Like now what? And some people never get to that moment. They chase that for the rest of their life. And that is a tragedy. That's tragic when you get somebody that spends their entire life with never an inkling of knowing who and what they truly are.
Yeah. Like I felt for Brittany the other day talking about her life.
Yeah.
How many people looked at Brittany and thought she had, before she had all that stuff happen to her, wow, she's got everything. She's this pop princess. She's got all the money, the looks, the talent, and to hear what a tragic time she's had.
Yeah.
Struggling.
She's living in slavery, but and she's an amplified thing that we can look at. But really, the truth of the matter is, and this is confronting for a lot of people, we've never been free, ever. We've never been free in the construct of the world that we live in. We've been born into control, and this is us as a human race now with the opportunity to create something different. But I think that the only way that we can do that is by really coming to the embodied knowing that we are who we are, which is the all and the everything, and we can only do that when we come to terms with our human experience. So, it's such a vast, vast, vast subject. And when you were talking about your practices and rituals, you know, again, we like to go, well, I do this and I do that and I do that. And what I felt, the energy of what you were kind of expressing was you live meditatively. Like you can sit and meditate. And I do believe that sometimes there's a time for that as well. But then you kind of graduate, or not graduate, what slowly begins to happen is you live a life that's more meditative, in the fact that you're just more present, and your relationship is much more naturally connected with your internal landscape, rather than being out there all the time.
Yeah. Really feeling into where I'm at, and then noticing what I'm being taught, and
yeah,
you know, the breadcrumbs with the synchronicities and the
yes.
signs and the symbols. And when noticing when I'm talking to somebody and spirit's channeling through them and speaking directly to me, like from source. And that's just, it's just
delicious.
a great feeling. It is delicious.
Delicious. When you stop being a control freak and you awake to the wonder of the world, which definitely a part of that is having to let go, which is terrifying. Like,
it's so hard. And just playing with that energy, and my mind, so my ego will always be like, no, you can't just go off for a bike ride. Like, that's not working.
Not between 9 till 5 when I'm supposed to be.
You can't go and do that. You need to be doing something. You need to be busy. And my mind will be like, oh yeah, no, God, yeah, I need to be really busy. And then, but if I follow my heart and do what my heart wants, then actually I find I'm more productive. The clients come.
Yeah.
So that's the ultimate way to live, right?
Oh, honestly, I can remember having a breakthrough going, I want ease. I'm not saying I'm lazy, but I want ease. I want to feel ease. Even when I'm working, I want it to be full of ease. Ease. Like, I want to stand on a stage one day, and that's become definitely much less important to me. I don't really care about that. But it's like, and the thing that I'm the most proud of is that my life unfolded and it did it with ease, versus there just being some guttural, struggly, like, push to bring things into being, you know. And you really can have that. I think that really is the truth. Like, my life is like a living manifestation of that.
Yeah.
And you know, and I think, go on.
Well, just coming back to what you were saying earlier about we have everything.
Yeah.
Like, we do have everything.
Yeah.
We need. It's just a case of realizing we've got what we need right in front of us. Yeah. You've got all the gifts. You've been pre-coded. Had it all pre-installed.
Yeah.
Like, it's in your DNA.
Motherboard.
Yeah, your motherboard.
Yeah.
And it's about people looking, like, almost doing an inventory. Okay, what skills do I have? Oh, I've got this career background. I've got this experience from my family life. I've got this experience from my life, this from my career, this stuff I picked up along the way. And then this is me, and this is what I offer other people. This is how I can help them.
Yeah. Eckhart Tolle, and we'll make this the last point because I could literally speak to you forever and a day, and then some more. But it was interesting that Eckhart Tolle, when I was in my darkest night of the soul, and I didn't think I could make it through. I wasn't so much suicidal, but I did want to go to sleep and never wake up again. I just thought, I just want to go to sleep. I can't do another day like this. It's horrendous. So it wasn't that I wanted to do anything to myself. I wanted to absolutely check out. If I had been allowed, I would have gone to sleep and not woken up. And I had just read, this is years ago now, I just read the New Earth. And he had said something in that, and it was like, in every moment, ask yourself, what am I lacking in this moment, or what is there to be afraid of in this moment? And at the time, I was in such a state, I was literally, it was like a minute by minute chant, like in my mind, what is there for me to be, because my nervous system was like off the charts. What is there to be afraid of right now? Not in the next moment or the next moment, but like locally where you are right now, what is there to be afraid of? And I couldn't deny that it kept on And what is there to worry about? I kept on coming back with nothing. There's nothing to be afraid of, nothing for me to worry about in this moment. Nothing, 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 nothing. And all of a sudden, and then it just started to drop. Oh, it keeps coming back, nothing. And it's the same with the question of what am I lacking right now in this moment? If you keep checking in on that, you gotta, I mean, the truth is we're never lacking, and there is never anything to, like, in the actual direct experience of it, I was like, well, I can't ignore the fact that the answer keeps on coming back, nothing, 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 nothing. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm living a mental enslavement that is utterly, utterly not true.
Yes.
Like, all of these things I'm scared of, it's like living in a mental nightmare that I was just creating for myself constantly. That was a really, really powerful moment for me. And I think that's what you're speaking to. Like, we have everything that we need right now, fully resourced in this moment. That's the truth.
Yeah, exactly. And it's only the construct of culture that tells us
to believe otherwise.
Yeah.
Because
if we were to incarnate here and the matrix wasn't here, you know, the way our reality has been constructed, which is you have to get insurance, a mortgage, you work 9 to 5, all these norms. You work Monday to Friday, you have the weekend off, you might get a bank holiday, all of that stuff. If we were just here, you wouldn't have any of that stuff. Like, that wouldn't exist. So we wouldn't be thinking, oh my God, I've got to get online, I've got to do this piece of work, I've got to be productive and get this done or that done, I've got to go and see these people. And it would just be much more in the flow. Like, we'd be in the flow of naturally doing what we wanted.
Yeah. And the excitement is we're at the forefront of that. For sure. Like, you know, you coming on here and speaking and taking your steps in your life every day, and me doing the same in mine, and Layla doing the same in hers. And, you know, if we've got the courage to keep on, it's not like we've got to save the world. We just have got to be the demonstration of this for ourselves. And then more and more and more people join, and more people join, and more people join. And then there's this tipping point, right? And I don't know if we're going to see it in the full fruition of it in this lifetime. I don't know. But for sure, it's exciting to be putting down the foundation for something else to occur.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's a really exciting time when you look at it, when you look at life through that lens. It's exciting.
It is. And sometimes you do go, beam me up, literally. Beam me up. Yesterday I was excited, today I'm over it. I wanted to, you've already dropped so many pieces of wisdom on us, but I'm like, have you got like one last piece of wisdom that you want to share with us all, and anybody that may be watching and listening?
I really live and breathe by what ayahuasca taught me, which was to follow my feet. Literally, she spent a whole night teaching me to follow my feet. She was literally like, I was like, do I want to go to the toilet? And she's like, well, have your feet moved? No. Well, then don't even waste time thinking it. Like, why? You're wasting energy by thinking it. So don't think about it. You'll know when you want to go to the toilet, because your feet will literally move you and you will go. I was like, oh, okay. So I live my life like that, and I've met the most amazing people by following my feet. Like, I met a dear friend of mine at a Joe Dispenza retreat. There were 800 people in the restaurant, and I didn't know where to go and sit. And a voice inside me just said, follow your feet. So I literally followed my feet, and I sat down next to someone who is now a dear, dear soul family member. Like, we've had so many past lives together, and it was because I was following my feet. Whereas if I'd been in my mind, in my head, I might have gone somewhere completely different and not had that interaction. So all the time, it's just like breathing into your body, feeling really into your body and just allowing your body to take you where it wants to take you. And by extension of your feet, it's your heart. It's where your heart really wants to go. So that's I don't think anyone can fail if they live like that.
Oh my God, I love that so much. I'm just taking that in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you. We have been speaking for nearly an hour. So
It's been great, Cora. It's been really fun.
And we were on half an hour before, so we've done like a full hour.
Yeah.
Hour and a half. But thank you for blessing us with your magic and your medicine. Yeah, thank you so much. And don't forget to put some links in. We will do. And if you want to bathe in a little bit more of our Lucy Lloyd's gorgeous medicine, we'll set you up on where you can find her. And I will put some links as well in the comment section. If you feel like if you feel to reach out, you can do that there. But yeah, thank you ever so much.
Thank
My
you.
heart was your heart. I just came out of medicine ceremony myself yesterday, and I was saying to Lucy that I only just started speaking about 5 minutes before, 20 minutes, maybe not 5 minutes, 20 minutes before our call. I wasn't even sure whether or not my voice was going to come forward, but hey, it's still there.
Beautiful. You're in the medicine so deep.
Oh, yes, yes.
Nice.
Yes. Thank you, Layla, for bringing us your energy on the call today. I'm sending everybody that watched and anybody that will be watching the replay so much love. Remember, follow your feet.
Follow your feet.
Have
a lovely day, everybody. Thanks, Laura. Blessing.
There we are. Broadcast ended.